Hey everybody, it's Dave, and this is 90 Days with Jesus, looking at John 11 today. And John 11 focuses mainly on the story of the death and resurrection of Lazarus, one of Jesus' closest friends. And it's a really familiar story. If you've been around church very long, you've heard the story of Lazarus and what happens there. I think it's really a story about belief. At least that's part that I wanted to focus on today as we looked at this, because as I read through this chapter this week, it really reminded me about how important our belief is and how our faith in Christ and how strong it is. Because as you read this story, you encounter the belief of the disciples, because when Jesus talks about the idea that Lazarus has died, has gone to sleep is the word that Jesus used. They think he's just basically taking a nap. And Jesus has to go, no guys, he's dead and we're going to go. And by the time that Jesus and the disciples get to Bethany, Lazarus has already been dead for 4 days. And he encounters Lazarus' sisters, Martha first. And as you read through this, she expresses the idea that she has believed since the beginning that Jesus is the Messiah. He is the one come from God to save us. And then a little bit later, as he encounters Mary, basically she says the same thing. And it's interesting to me because as you watch them interact with Jesus during this time, they talk about they both say the same thing, basically that if you had been here, Lord, our brother wouldn't have died. Again, showing their belief. But then kind of the funny thing is when Jesus says, well, take me to the tomb, take me to where you've put him, they go there and Jesus tells them to remove the stone from the entrance to the tomb. And they say, no, Lord, because he's been dead for 4 days. And if you read the King James, it says, he stinketh. And to me, it's kind of funny because, previously they said, they're the Messiah, you can do anything. But then when it comes to actually believing that he's going to do something in their life, they almost forget the testimony that they gave earlier, that about who he is and what their faith in him means. And I think maybe that's something that we can remember, that Jesus is Lord, wherever we are, in the good times, the bad times, the tough times, and the times we don't understand it. He is God. He is Lord. He is the Messiah. He's the King. And we just need to trust him in all things. And of course, in the story, they do remove the stone. Jesus tells Lazarus to come out, and out comes the man that had been dead for 4 days, wrapped up in the grave clothes. And he said, Jesus said, let him loose because he's alive. And I think that's the thing for us, that our faith really does set us alive in our trust in Christ. And then towards the end of the chapter, kind of the idea again about faith and believing and those kind of things, because we see the reaction of the Jewish leaders, because once they see what happened at Bethany, that Jesus has resurrected a man. Not only has he done all these other miracles, now he's brought somebody back from the dead. Basically, in kind of a weird way, they start believing too that he is the Son of God, or at least that he's someone to be feared, because it says at that point they really put into action their plans to put him to death, because they feared him. They were afraid of what he would do as far as kind of changing everything, which is what Jesus is all about. He changes everything. So maybe as you read through the chapter today, you might see some of those things. You may see some other things, but just the idea, look in there for the idea of the stories of what our faith can do, in our lives, as you see it lived out in Mary, Martha, and the disciples, and even the Jewish leaders. But, what does it mean for us in our lives? So I encourage you, to take the story of Jesus out wherever you are today and to share it with folks, because it is powerful. It is powerful. It is the only thing that can really change lives. Thank you guys for listening. Hope that you have a great day, and we'll see you back tomorrow.